Hey everyone, this is Thomas from Board Game Revolution here, and in this video, we'll be taking a look at Weather Machine, designed by Lacerda and published by Eagle Griffin Games, which I think was towards the end of 2021 on crowdfunding. Eagle recently opened up late pledges for backers to finalize their stuff, or anybody else who missed out. Now's your time to jump in, upgrade those dollar pledges, and we're hoping this video can help you decide one way or the other. With me, I have none other than the man himself, Vital. Thanks for taking the time on your busy schedule to be here with me.
Thank you for having me. So I'm eager to hear what you have for me. And about my next release, because well, for me the game has almost a year already when I finish.
Yeah, this is old news for you, right?
Yet, so I'm very excited with the next release.
Right, and yeah, we'll talk about that in a video followed by this one. We're gonna go beyond the table with Vital and talk to him and interview him, and talk about game design and inspiration and other things that come to mind. So stick around after this video for that. For those who don't know about Weather Machine, I'd classify it as a heavier Euro, mid-heavy BGG scales, like over 4. Has elements of worker placement, set collection, tile placement, action selection. It's competitive, but it's helpful for players to sometimes work together. You can both benefit. The game is tight, it's crunchy, it's full of meaningful decisions, just like all of his other games. So if any of that sounds like stuff you enjoy, I hope you stick around. With that being said, Vital, I ask everybody this. So what do you think makes Weather Machine stand apart from other Vital Lacerda games?
Well, first, the theme is something that I never approach. Is a little bit of fantasy theme, or can say that it is not that fantasy at all. So, but usually I approach day themes, right? Just like CO2 or Kanban or Venus. And in this one, I risk to have a little bit more fantasy around what we can do by manipulating the weather, right? And what it's more a satiric thing about what will happen if we start manipulating the weather. Many people say that already happens, right? So maybe a fantasy for many, but may not be a fantasy for others. So I'm jumping a little bit out of my comfort zone here. And
so this has more fantasy elements in it that for you is a challenge, right? Because you kind of base your stuff more around real life situations. But some of this is still, theoretically, real. But the theme is, it's out there.
It can be. We are manipulating the weather since the 70s, right? And
yeah, it's not far off. I mean, it could be there any day.
Improving the crops and stuff like that. So,
right.
Here I take it is a little bit far away and a little bit more to the fiction, and try to see what happens if we start really manipulating the weather, and that's the game basically.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, what this game has differently from other ones? Well, for now we have a different way to of currency in this game. We call it vouchers, but we have 5 different ones that we have to manage to visit different departments or locations in the game. One thing that I really like, and I think that stands apart from my other games, is like we have 3 main locations in the game, and the 3 one work in different ways, in different ways. Because one of the locations is completely competitive, that is the government research. Another one is the machine, the weather machine invented by the scientists, that is cooperative. And you have another part of the board or the game that is semi-cooperative. And and this stands up from my other games. I never did something like this. So.
Is that the Lativ's lab area, or would that be the government area with semi-co-op?
Well, it's the government area is competitive completely, and because you are looking for taking special subsidies to subsidize your work on the game, and the cooperative part is Lativ Lab. So it's
Okay.
the scientist lab. That's the
His
cooperative
lab.
part.
Right.
Because we want to run the machine together. And finally, you want to fix the weather. Players, listeners is not don't know about the game yet, but we are basically ruining the weather to fix it after. So, and the semi cooperative part of the game is when we are fixing the weather. So we have 3 different ways to play the game that you need to play in one match. So yeah, that's the
Interesting.
part
So
that I like
couple
more in the
layers that are new, semi co-op, rewards for actions, but still being competitive at the same time. So a lot of interaction there.
game. It's completely competitive, so
Yeah,
only one
exactly.
player wins.
Right. But you can benefit from working with people. So
Yeah,
above that
well,
option.
you will want to work with the other people.
Okay. And we'll show that
Otherwise, you
soon.
will lose.
Right. So in the game, for those who may not know the background, players are the scientists working with this ambitious professor who has developed this machine that can control the weather. The initial
Yes.
concept was working, but it kind of had some adverse side effects. So the government's stepping in like they always do and asking the players to make things right. So we'll be writing papers, conducting research, addressing these flaws with the government to secure more grants, build a new prototype, and hopefully mitigate all the side effects from this breakthrough
Yeah, and
invention and win the game.
the fun part is that we are winning prizes for that. So,
Yep.
and the player who can get the most prizes usually wins the game. So,
Yep. As is life. So why don't we head on over to the table here? Hit the right button. And you can go ahead and give us a general overview, unless you want me to talk about the areas of the board, or do you want to maybe tell us the goal of the game from the actions perspective, like what actions we're taking and steps we're doing and how to score?
yeah, I can give a really quick overview of what you have in front of you, and then
Perfect.
we can make a couple of rounds or a couple of plays that I already prepare here,
Yep.
for everybody knows how to see how the game may play.
Yeah, we want to
Okay.
show the turn in action, so it's not completely accurate. Don't look for mistakes. If anything's not in the right place, it's probably my fault for moving it around. But it's just to give people an idea, how the game works in a nutshell. It's not to spend 3 hours playing it. It's just to show you the general flow of it. So
Okay. So we didn't have the scoring there. So anyway, in front of us here on these small boards or big boards, they are big boards. We have our labs. Each player has one lab where you manage all the stuff you can do in the game. Okay. So we have at the right, we have a warehouse where you can store chemicals, bots, and machine parts that we need in the game. Those basically are the resources we need to manage. And then we have the currency in the middle that is called vouchers. And every time we take an action, we gain and we have to spend vouchers. And managing these 5 tracks, it's one of the big points on the game. Okay. So on the left we have our bots, and in this case, 6 of the bots are already out of the game. And you cannot do basically anything in the game without having the bots that are your helpers. Okay. So in the board and in front of us, we have 3 different locations. And we have in the middle the machine, the weather machine that gives the name to the game. We on the left have the government and a location, and on the right we have the screens where we are seeing what happens with the weather and the bots that are working on the research to fix what we are ruining by running the weather machine. People may
I'm going
ask
to
me
pause
why
here
are
to
sorry.
interrupt you. I apologize. Just back up over the board. I was still on the player board. My bad. Didn't see
Okay.
the switch. So the left area, what is that? That's the government area, right?
In the left, we have the government area. You
Right.
can see a nice building there, with in the very nice artwork from Ian O'Toole. The
Yep.
usually thing that we are used to see. And here, the government is have these tiles that represents subsidies that we are getting to make things right. Okay. At the same time, the government, in exchange of these subsidies, are of course trying to build the machine, the right one, not the wrong one. Okay. So, and by doing this, we are getting these small books that you can see on the bottom that represent the research that we have to do in the different types of weather to fix to build the right machine and fix the weather. Okay. So that is the part of the set collection that Thomas just spoke about. And we have to get 3 different researches from the 3 different locations until to be able to publish the work and then fix the machine. Okay. So in the middle, we have these tiles that represent the experiments that we are doing with the main machine, the weather machine invented by Lativ. And that is the cooperative part. If you noticed here, there are different spots in each branch of the machine, and each branch is connected to a weapon that you can see that we can fire up and change the weather. Okay. So these are the experiments that we are doing, and each spot needs a bot like the ones we have here. Let me flip this down for you to see it, or these ones. And these bots, these spots must be filled for the machine to work. And that is the part that I call the cooperative part, because the players want to complete the branches of the machine to fire up the machine. Okay. So in this case, if the branches are not filled up, and we have here a special worker that is from Lativ, as he's a Lativ assistant, he also helps us to do this. And while these branches are not complete, the machine does not fire. Okay. And of course, firing the machine gives you some benefits and points, and firing the machine is what makes the game, the weather ruined, or is wrecking the weather. And then we have to improve the weather by getting a new machine that this time is working well. Okay. So this is the game, and that is the part of R&D. We have the screens with the weather be getting worse, and we can see here, for instance, you see the snow. Here there is no snow, then you get one tile that gets worse, and then the snow gets even worse, and we keep doing these experiences, and there is so much snow that you cannot see anything in front of you. You see on the right, that's the one here on the right. So, and what we're going to do is try not to wreck those tiles too much, because it will be more difficult to fix it. Okay.
So the weather's gonna be a factor that we have to deal with as well, right? It's gonna potentially make a lot of this harder. Can we restore these areas after they start getting worse?
Yeah, it's harder to fix it, and that's what happened in the game. But we don't stop to make the experience to make it worse, because, well, it's what humans do, right? We are trying to fix the environment, but we keep doing bad things to it. So, and this is a little bit of satiric game about what is happening. All right, so it's a fantasy, but it's not that different from what we are doing right now. Anyway, so you understand that we have 3 different places to play, and the game is not very difficult to get, because you are playing. It's a worker placement that we have 3 spaces. Only here we have only 2, because it's a 2-player games. One of the places are closed. And what you do usually on the game is you move your worker from one area to the other and take one of the 2 actions indicated here on the board. Okay. There is some tweaks here, but we are not going deep on these explanations, right? Because you can, if you play on the left, you can take both actions. If you play on the right, you can only play one. And there are a few tweaks that you are used. Hopefully, if you know my other games, you are used to it. You have small layers that you have to think about and take some decisions before you move. Okay, so I have prepared here with Thomas, one movement for each one of us for you to just to see how the game works. Okay. Right now, in the boards of Thomas, can you
Yep.
focus your board, Thomas?
Yep. Getting over there right now. The
Right.
key commands work. Yeah. Just failing on the keys. Hold on. I think it
Okay.
reset.
So
There we
yeah.
go. People can just see that board moving around for no useful ways. But
Okay,
that's
so
just
what
there we go.
Thomas have already is he got the research of the sun in the three different locations. So he has the research of the sun here on the government location. He did the research on the machine. So this means that the machine already ran as a sun. And he also have the research how to fix the box, the how to fix the sun to don't make it so dry and fires and all of that stuff. So and he has the solution for the machine, the good one. So when this happens, he's allowed to take one action that is not open to the game until he has this set collection done. Okay, and for that is the movement that I will go in. I'm going to show you. Before that's the movement I'm going to show you for Thomas. So Thomas decides to go to the R&D because he wants to fix the weather. Okay, he can do it because he has the solution already. So when he moves here, he's allowed to take both actions that are allowed in this department. All the departments or all the locations have two actions that you can do. One is the main action where you can send bots to fix things, and the other one is the one that he wants to take, that is the breakthrough to fix the sun. Okay, but when he moves here, Lativ is here, and Lativ being here is very good for the players because Lativ moves to the next space, and he gives him a voucher. Okay, you remember when I talked about the currency that you have to spend to play. Every time you play here, you have to spend one or two vouchers of this type of this location. Okay, but if the scientist is there, he grants you science and science is always good to have because you need to use science in different departments. Okay, for doing a lot of things. You also gain one voucher in the different departments. That's how you gain and spend vouchers during the game. It's moving and depends on who is there, you gain more or less. Okay, so by moving here, you can fix the machine. But for that, he needs to have a machine ready in his warehouse. Okay, besides having the research, so he has the solution, he needs to have the machine ready in his on the warehouse, and the machine is ready by the pieces. And let's go out to see how we can fix the weather here. So by moving here, he looks at this part that is the weather he wants to fix, and he noticed that the machine needs a part that is from this color, it's salmon. He needs another part from this color, but he has a bot there. So the bot is making this part, so it doesn't really need it anymore. I'm here also with one bot, and the machine would need a part that is a green also with this symbol, and finally a white one. Okay, so to build the machine, the right one, you need two parts of salmon. One part looks like a recipe, right? So two parts of salmon, one green and one white. All right. But because the bots are here, you don't really need to have all of these parts. You only need to have the parts that complete the machine. And that is exactly what he has on his player board, on his warehouse. You see here? So in warehouse, he has the parts that he needs to complete the machine. So he just discards the parts needed, and now the machine is complete. The bots are doing the salmon part and the green one, and then he delivers the white one and the one on the tile that is a special one that you always need. By doing this, he says, okay, I know I'm fixing the machine. He moves this token, that is the token that is in front of the result, just to indicate that he has the solution, and he places there. Okay? He have to pay something, but then he gains points, or he can gain a benefit. In this case, is another part. and the weather is fixed. You need 2 parts to fix the weather here. Someone already fixed it. So this moves out of the board, and you can see the weather now is much less aggressive. Okay, we have different parts of the game. Oh, in here there is, oh no, there is not a mistake. So you see, I don't know if you can show this on the screen, but you see the weather is getting worse and worse and worse. Oh, let me organize this. Okay, so you see water here, then a little bit dry, then completely dry, and the fires that usually happen in Australia, fires like this, and California last year, right? So,
Right.
and what you're doing is every time we run the machine, it gets worse and worse, and then we try to fix it, and it comes back to the previous stage. Okay, that's basically the game. All right, mechanically you have more things that you can do, but this allows him by Thomas just fixed the weather. Now it's much better, so he gains a reward. The reward is this one token here, and this reward allows him to use this book, this reward book, to complete other sets faster, much faster, to keep doing this. And what I can see in this game is like, once you have one set complete and you fix the first weather using these rewards, you can speed up a lot the end of the game. And then starts a race to the end of the game for the players to get the best, take the best of they can before the game is over. Okay.
I had a
So
question, Vital. How are
yeah.
you getting on the player boards these book tokens? What's the actions that earn
Okay.
us this?
So those are the actions on the left. Okay. Remember when
Okay.
I said that you have
Right.
2 actions? So every time you take the action on the left, you get a research book with one exception. Of course, my games have exceptions. That is running the machine. Okay. So on the government, if you send a bot, and let's send a bot here to any of the government location, the government the government wants to build a machine, right? So by sending his here, you are taking one of these subsidies for you that you can use at the beginning of the game. And this one is very simple. This one gives you a bot for free. You don't have to pay for it. But for playing here, you have to deliver also the parts that you are covering, right?
Right.
So, and the government is building the machine. Okay, and by placing this one here, you know something about this machine already, so you get the tile. Okay, by getting this research book, you place it here, and then you try to complete your sets on the board. Okay, so here is the same. On the action on the left, you can send a bot there, and by sending a bot, you always get the tile. Because sending the bot, you are doing research on this part of on this location, and you get the tile you need. The machine is a little bit different because there is a phase on the machine where you can complete, where you can run your machine. Okay, when you can run the machine, and you only gain these tiles if the machine runs successfully. Okay, if the machine does not run, nobody gets the tiles, and that is the cooperative part, because this guy that you can see here, let me try to lay down, yeah, the guy that is here is moving on different parts and hit the button to run the machine. If there is not enough bots and chemicals for the experience run, the experience does not run. That is where enters the cooperative part, because I want also the experience to run, because I also gain benefits with it, and I will send one of my bots to complete also this before this guy helpers reaches the branch and hit the button to run this branch of the machine. And so yellow, and let's imagine that you come here to with one of your bots and you place it here. So we both receive one of these. Okay, so basically this is the game. We are moving around in the different locations to try to complete the set collections that you talk about. the research about the three different locations, government with getting subsidized, running the machine, and try to build a new machine to fix the weather. Once one player have 3 of these rewards, the game is over. Okay, and the game, when the game is over, we have a final scoring that we can talk about if you want to.
Yeah. At the end, when the player takes a Nobel Prize, right?
Yeah.
Is that the Nobel Prize, or is that something else?
There is. That's what happens. So the first player to take 3 rewards, this meaning that having 3 breakthroughs or fixing 3 times different different weather types, he gains this tile that is the Nobel Prize, and the game is over. The Nobel Prize gives him 5 points at the end of the game, and then we have different points from the tracks on the top. The tracks are related with the work you do in each location, okay? And they have points on the top, but they also gives you benefits during the game. And also there are one part of the game that I really like, that are the establishing goals. I did this with the gallerist once, and I like so much that this mechanism that I'm probably will do, well, not in the same way, but I like that each player establish their own goals to the end of the game. There
Now
is
you're
something
talking
that
my
I
language.
really like on the games, and I used in the gallerist, and I'm using
I
in
loved
this
it.
too.
Yeah, that was what got me really excited with the gallerist. Was I love scoring goals, and it's just when there's a lot of decisions and a lot of moving parts, it's good for players. At least for me, I like to have a little bit of focus. I also like that each game it's not going to be the same thing, because sometimes when it's what I call perfect information or same start or stale starts, it's like I'm just going to do the same thing every time. But I love when it's variable and the board changes and no 2 game is the same.
Well, I hope so that I hope to did this here on this game, because we have sets of tiles that we have in the beginning that the name are goal tiles that we have in the scientific industry, right? Or scientific groups, associations. There are goals that must be set for them to achieve, and then get subsidized by that, right? And so having these goals on the board, there is one action that are called the investment tiles that you gain. These tiles, these black tiles, that allows you to flip these tiles and get subsidized because of that. And these tiles, when they are placed on the board, they are giving you, or they are determining goals that you have to achieve at the end of the game. So, and everybody has 9 tiles in the beginning. And from these 9, you can choose up to 6, because it's the space you have on the board. And each tile is very simple, because each tile gives you 5 points at the end if you achieve the goal. Okay, and by doing this, is by playing your game, you are the one who are determined the goals that you want to achieve, and but when you choose one, you go after it, right?
You're stuck with it, right?
Yeah.
Can you change them out, or are they stuck?
Yeah, they stay here, but
Okay.
when you have another action that is to flip the tile.
Okay.
And this, when you flip the tile, is give you activated the tracks on the top, and this will give you some benefits. It can give you science, it can give you resources, it can give you machine parts. So these tiles have an active role in the game, and also is part of the end of the game goal. And if you notice, there are only 3 end of game goals here, and those are the 5 points for each tile you achieve the goal. These are if someone gets the Nobel Prize, and finally the way the advancement you get on each of the top tracks that represents the work you did in the game. If you do a great job in one location and not in the other, you advanced more in one track than the other. So you can choose if you want to participate or split your work or your game for the 3 different locations, or be more focused in one location or in the other.
Right.
So and the game works like that. So it's
how does it scale with 2? And let's cover solo real quick before we have to jump off here.
you know that I don't like to have many rules when we scale. I scale the number of players, so I play test a lot with all different numbers of players. And for this game, Latif has a special part that is taking out with 2 players only. Is when he moves when he moves to each of these departments, and he moves by the players. When the players reach where he is, he moves to the next department. Okay, and by doing this, it takes one of the research tokens. That's how the game gets competitive, because it's taking what you need.
Right.
You don't want to do for him to do that. So, and this scales really well. So this is basically the rules that you need to know when you play 2-player games. And if I have the rule book here, I can show you. Can I show this to the camera?
Here, I can put. Hold on, I
Yeah,
can put the
it's
rule
here.
book on
You
the
see,
screen if you
the
want.
2-player
Check this out.
rules is just.
Here, yeah. Let
Oh,
me
you have
go.
that. Nice. It's
Yeah,
so
let me
in the
find
last
them.
page. It's in the last page.
Where are
It's a
we?
nice rule book, right? I did it.
Yeah, very nice. And
So
Paul Grogan worked on it too, right?
yeah, he did all the addition of the game, and it's an
So there's
amazing
the
job.
2-player stuff over here, which I can't
Yeah,
really zoom in on, but
everything is just that column in the mid. That's the changes for the rules, and the game really works well with only
okay.
those. And you even have a variant there to make
Yeah,
it a
the
little bit
drafting
easier.
variant for the goals, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah. You
Okay.
can. That drafting variant is not for the 2 players; it's for the experienced players.
Right.
Because, as you know, these types of things, when you have a group of tiles, they must be balanced, right? So each player has 9 tiles that are balanced between them. So each group of tiles is balanced. So I have a variant where you can draft the tiles, but in a special way to keep those things balanced between them. But yeah, experienced players do that. You need to play a lot this game to try to start to change to make the drafting on those.
I
Of
bet.
course, you can do it when you want, but you don't really need it. Yeah.
Right. A lot of your games are definitely not going to click the first try, so that can be a deterrent for some people. And
Well,
it's one of the topics I want to cover in our second video. I'd like to cut this one off here just because we've covered the overview and how to play, and I wanted to, kind of give it a breaking point for people if they want to watch the interview later. We'll break this part into 2 sections. So if you are interested in hearing more and talking to game design, look out for that second follow-up video. For now, I want to at least end this one for you taking the time to show me what looks like an amazing, potentially award-winning game by BGR. At least we had 2 categories that could fit: production and brain burner. So I could see this being a heavy contender for that next year when we do our voting. But it's been a pleasure and honor spending the time with you to learn more about this. Yeah, this game looks magnificent. I thank everybody that tuned in. I hope this video helps you decide if this game is right for you. I did want to name drop and say, if you want to learn more, head on over to the Gaming Rules video channel. He did a tutorial playthrough, and I believe How It Plays is also doing a playthrough review. They kind of give more their opinion on it. So those are 2 great resources to check out.
You, Thomas.
Yeah, no,
Sorry to interrupt you.
I do it all the time.
Paul Brogan is making the official video for
And the official video. Yeah, I saw that in the rules. Paul Grogan is the man, in my opinion. I have a brass statue over here of him. I look up to him, but no, he's a great cat and he does amazing work. He's deserves more recognition than he does, but his rulebook editing was amazing, but I know he got a little burned out doing all that stuff. So
yeah, all my rule books are from him. So
that definitely makes I can notice the improvement. So
yeah.
All right, with that, I'm going to say BGR out and thank you again. And we'll be back here in a second for an interview. Thanks, Vital.